You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Makes it official. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We certainly appreciate you being here and being a part of the show, as always. For 15 years, we bring you the CEOs, the billionaires, the Pulitzer Prize winners, the astronauts, the government officials, all the wonderful, brilliant minds who put all this stuff down on paper, write these amazing books, and share with you the stories of your life, of their lifetime, that you can share for your lifetime. As always, I say, stories are the owner's manual to life, and that is the beauty of all the great stories we share with you on the Chris Voss Show and the wonderful guests that come on. So I go through every one of these shows, folks. We've done close to 2,000 shows now. We've been doing this for 15 years. There isn't a show I go by where I learn something new, where I gain an epiphany, where I'm able to look at something from a different perspective. And if you're not experiencing that same thing, either you're a whole lot smarter than the rest of us, or maybe you're just not listening hard enough. But as always, we ask you, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss. On LinkedIn, subscribe to the big LinkedIn newsletter, the 130,000 LinkedIn group, and also Chris Voss 1 on the Tickety-Talkety. We have an amazing gentleman on the show today, and he's going to be talking about entrepreneurism and how he built what he builds as America's simplest business. Personally, I thought it was OnlyFans, but evidently it's not. Brian Winch joins us on the show today. He is the owner and author and creator of Cleanlots, once again, billed as America's simplest business. We're going to be talking to him about what went into that and how he built it. You can find his book that came out August 3rd, 2018, Cleanlots, America's Simplest Business, a parking lot litter removal business that you can be proud of. Welcome to the show, Brian. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Thanks for coming, Brian. So tell us about what you've done here. You basically grew a simple environmental cleanup service from a side hustle in 1981 into a six-figure business of over 40-plus years, and you can teach people how to make money from green service that's almost as easy as going for a walk. Let's give us your .com and then tell us the overview, what's inside the book.
The book details my 40-plus years experience starting and operating this simple green service based from home. I started with very little money, a high school education, and no special skills. And about 4 years into the business, I got the idea, why not share this with other people looking for a simple business opportunity? I'll be the first to admit it's not the most glamorous business out there, but it appeals to a lot of people that like to get outdoors, do something different, get paid for going for walks, like I like to say. And maybe introverts or the night owls or the early birds that like to go out and get the work done and then have the rest of the day to do as they please.
There you go. I wonder if this could help homeless people and people that are struggling financially. We kind of have a lot of that going on around the nation, and people living in RVs and financially.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I've seen in various cities, including my own city, something similar set up where they're to clean up litter. The Downtown Business Association, does that, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of spreads throughout the country.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would be a smart way to not only, help keep the city clean, and these folks are sadly already on the streets, but maybe it could give them a boost up. It could give them a way to pay for rentals, maybe put them in communities and stuff. And since they're working and doing stuff, and it's technically not a business you require a lot of inventory for. Is that correct?
Exactly. The tools we use are just simple but unique hand tools that you can pick up from a cleaning supply store. So it makes it easy, almost as easy as just, walking up to an item and cleaning it up. There's no no touching any of the litter material that you're cleaning up, and you can get in and out of there. But outside of a couple of hand tools, you need just a vehicle to drive you from job site to job site. And most people start out like I did, just with the vehicle that they have. You don't need to go out and buy a special truck or a vehicle dedicated, or no special heavy equipment necessary to start this service. Like litter pickup is a service best performed on foot, where you walk the entire exterior property of a commercial property and clean up litter material from the sidewalks, parking lots, surrounding landscape, and it's done after hours before the business is open, so you can clearly see and clean all the litter material.
There you go. So what does Cleanlots do, your company? Is that just specifically your company? Do you franchise out? How does that work?
I looked at franchising, but it's such a simple opportunity. And so I decided just to, share it in a book. And it's more of an operations manual, quite frankly. It's not, you get more than just a book. It's pretty detailed, concisely written. There's various other business building products that I have on my website. And then I also offer free support or free coaching. And, some people take me up on it, and I'm more than happy to help. I get a kick out of helping people, become successful in this business. And it's one way of giving back to a business that has provided very well for me and my family for the last 40 years.
There you go. You grew it into a 6-figure business. So I imagine you approach commercial centers, set up contracts with them to do the cleanup and all that stuff?
Yeah, we our prospects or customers are property management companies. We don't work for the individual businesses that make up each commercial property. So we just contact them and pitch our service. And I tell everyone, sell the benefits. Nobody likes to be sold anything, but we explain we can give them a cleaner, litter-free property for less money, and of course, property managers, who wouldn't want to know how they can accomplish that? They're always looking for the best service for the best price. And then we provide extra value. Anybody can clean. What makes our business model successful, other than the way we operate, is the additional value we provide. So I'll give you an example of that. We could be out cleaning, and we notice maybe the building was hit with fresh graffiti, or somebody's dumped off a mattress and a TV at the back of the building. We just take a picture of that, and with our phone, send that to our customer the next day, first thing in the morning. And they appreciate us being an extra set of eyes for them. And it's one way we make their jobs easier. So, if you remember that, you've got customers for life, for decades.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, you set up a contract. I mean, we've run brick and mortar contract businesses with companies, and if you do a good job, and you're kind of, with our company, it was an overnight courier express, and we had mailboxes everywhere for the people on site, or we had keys to their office. And so we call ourselves the Great Invisible Business, or Great Invisible Courier, because we just show up in the middle of the night, pick up what they wanted to ship. Many times, they missed FedEx, they missed UPS cutoffs, but we had a system where they could get stuff late at night. And so we call ourselves a Great Invisible Courier. And we had customers for over a decade, probably still would, if we hadn't moved on to another state. But the invisible nature of what we did, we didn't really have to interact with them much. There were some of our clients who never had seen us for 13 years because we just show up in the middle of the night and do the stuff. And we just did it like clockwork. And they're like, I don't know. Every night when we show up, it's done. So, and then the nice thing is, maybe if you don't get along with others, or if you kind of have that entrepreneurial slant, it's kind of nice to run your own business where you're not having to work with a bunch of other people all day long. I mean, between picking up trash and sometimes having some trashy people in your office, I'd probably just want to be on the street picking up trash.
That's right. You nailed it. And, we go do the work. We're not dealing with people. We're out in the morning hours where most of the people are still sleeping, so we can get around the city very easily. And it's great. Like I tell people, it's great for introverts. Just show up, do the work, and it's not like our phone is ringing off the hook. You're running a retail business during the day, and you've got people coming in and out of your shop. The only time you're communicating with your customers is, like I say, when you're communicating these issues such as graffiti or broken glass or something like that, in most cases, it's just done by email. I mean, I've got some customers where I've never met them. We've just communicated with them, either by text or by phone or email.
And then we used to have a thing with our mortgage company where we would have, or a Kerr company, we had a lot of mortgage companies where whenever the agent we were dealing with at the company, he or she would usually leave and go to another company, and usually they kind of do the same sort of thing. They'd call us up and be like, hey, we used you over there. Can we use you over here? And so I imagine it's kind of the same way in that business where you can get pretty good referrals. And, I suppose if you land a big enough contract for a large enough thing and stuff. On Amazon, it shows the book is priced at $113. Is that correct? And is that because you're selling the business blueprint, Brian?
Yeah. Well, there's two. Is the hard copy for $89.95.
Oh, is there? Okay. And then there's the
you could get the book on all the online bookstores, including Amazon, but also the paperback is for $79.95 on our website, and $89.95 is the hard copy. And then, like I mentioned, there's different bundle packages if people want to get the explainer video series, the business documents, which is a simple zip drive. There's various products, but I tell people basically, if you're strapped for cash, all you need really to get started is one version or the other of the book.
There you go. And so, I see it here now. The Kindle version is separate, $79 right now. People can get it, or it sounds like the best place for them to get it is on your website.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So, Cleanlots, this could solve so many problems with homelessness and people that are broke, and you can really turn this into a 6-figure business, huh?
Exactly. And I decided to sell it in a book and keep it as affordable as I can. I'm not making 6-figure income from selling books. It's a little bit of extra money to help build the retirement account. I still clean parking lots. I think I always will. It's such easy work. I've scaled back my hours, and people can do that themselves if they're working for themselves. It's really up to you. So that's the benefit of it not being a franchise. I'm not telling people how they have to operate, how many hours they need to work, in what territory they must operate in. Just keep it nice and simple. And I was thinking about other people, just like me. There's a lot of people out there that didn't go to college, but they'd like to make some extra money for themselves, whether it be as a permanent side hustle or build it into a full-time 6-figure business. The choice is yours.
Yeah. And I imagine it's not too complicated. I mean, you don't have to learn computers so much. You don't have to have anything extensive for starting a business. I mean, it's literally go out, knock on some doors, offer to help people. You can definitely find who needs help, because if you go to their commercial property and see there's trash everywhere, and I know let me ask you this. I know some companies, they have those big machines that come out now and try and suck up all the trash, but it seems like a lot of stuff still blows in the fence and outer areas. So how do you sell it as being better than, those big machines, or a complement to them?
Ours is a different service where, we're not providing any sweeping, or where you've got the street sweepers that come in. Of course, they can only maneuver where they can drive, like on the parking lots. But we provide an entire or a thorough, exterior property litter cleanup, where we walk the sidewalks, the parking lot, surrounding landscape, and we don't go in there once a week. It's the whole point is to maintain these properties litter free. So it takes literally the time it takes almost, to walk the properties. So, depending on the sizes, it could be a small, a medium, or a large property. We could be in and out of there in, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the size.
There you go. And I imagine, even like abandoned commercial properties, they don't want them to look that blighted, right? So they probably hire out to have people clean that as well, right?
To maintain the properties. If not, the city oftentimes will send them notices, the bylaw officers, and give them, 48 hours to clean up the property, or else the city will go in and clean it up for them and then bill them on their property taxes. So, it's not a hard sell. Property owners, property management companies recognize the need to maintain their properties. And to be honest, the first thing when you pull into a parking lot, you're going to notice, how much litter is on the property before you even enter the buildings, to see how clean the janitors are keeping the buildings clean. So nobody likes to see an unsightly litter-free property, whether it be the property management company, the businesses located in it, or the community, or the shoppers. So, and especially after COVID, a lot of people are pointing out, like, who are these people that are just discarding their masks in parking lots outside grocery stores?
Yeah, that was going on a lot.
And so, so property managers, thought, okay, well, we have to make sure that, this service is being done. Otherwise, these people are going to shop elsewhere.
Yeah, that was going a lot during COVID. I would see so many masks just dropped on the ground in the parking lot. It was freaking insane. I was just like, is this for real? And it's unfortunate. So with marketing, do you just knock on doors, call people, maybe send them emails through, websites and stuff like that? How do you usually do the marketing for something like this, if you want to tease that out maybe?
It's pretty easy. You do an online search, various search terms, property management companies or real estate management companies, list of property management companies.
Yeah.
And then, I tell people it's best to compile your own list. It's more up to date, and then just start contacting these people. And, your whole point is not to sell them anything from that initial phone call or communication. It's to find out who the decision maker is. And then you want to share information with them. You keep it brief. We can give you a cleaner, litter-free property for less money. We'd love to share more information as to how we can do that, and it just starts the conversation going. And the ultimate goal is to get a couple of addresses or, sites to go out and take a look at where you can get back to them with pricing.
There you go. And, it sounds like a great business. You can work your own hours. I used to love our courier company when we started. We were working 18 hours a day doing it ourselves, and I used to love it because the hours between when the business closed and when it opens is when we could do our work. And there was, a whole system that we had. But the beauty of it is if we were running late or there was some sort of issue, or maybe if I wanted to start later, as long as I could hit my mark of when we were done with everything by the time the business opened, it gave us a lot of play to where we could, we didn't feel like we were like, oh God, we got to be there at this time. And, you're dealing with that rigmarole of just timelines, et cetera, et cetera. I suppose if you have a big enough business, you're on a timeline system, but you kind of have a little bit of freedom because you're in the middle of the night. No one's watching you. You can kind of go about your own business. You can probably dress like you like, I guess, depending upon the weather. But for the most part, you're not having to wear a suit and tie, I suppose, to go out and do it. Working with a personal relationship business like that, I've always loved more because it's not technical, but we've had people on this show. In fact, there was a guy who wrote a book about blue collar millionaire that was on the show, and he talks about how blue collar work like this is some of the most highest paid work now because no one wants to do it. It's not popular, and so it pays really well. I mean, you look at what a person who picks up garbage gets now. People work in the sewers, people work in construction and trades. I mean, they're getting paid extraordinarily well. And for some reason, this new generation is like, well, we don't want to work out there and sweat, But good for them, man. They're getting paid like, I think there's some people, making like $40-$70 an hour, and yeah, I don't know. The kids are like going, go to work for McDonald's for 10, 20 or whatever. They're actually getting paid pretty well now, I think. But yeah, it's a business that it isn't going to go anywhere. I mean, you talk about AI and robotics and all these crazy things, until they make a robot that goes around and picks up trash, which I don't think they're going to. It doesn't seem like there's any money in that for people who make robots. It sounds like a good little business. And the other thing I should mention about your business that I think is great is I love contract businesses. Having a business like this that no one wants to do, that isn't popular, there's not a lot of competitors, and having a contract where you just do business with people year in and year out. And because you're invisible and stuff, they really don't think about you much. They get the invoice, they pay it, you do your job, as long as you're consistent with it, the years go by, man. And people just pay the bills and they're like, I don't know, that one guy just cleans a lot and it's done and we're fine. And that it was a great business for all the years we had our business that was in the same sort of nighttime, after hours format. You didn't have to deal with anybody. You didn't have to say hello to anybody. So there you go. What about, do you ever have security issues in different cities?
Yeah. No, I mean, most of these properties now do have security patrols that,
right.
run through the properties a few times a night. So we might see them and, just a quick, little friendly conversation or whatever. But yeah, I mean, typically when we provide the work, everyone's home sleeping. It's not too busy. And then, if somebody should come up to you and ask you if you could spare a buck, they want to buy a coffee, we just make sure we tell all of our people. And I just tell people, I'm sorry, I don't carry cash. And then, they buy that, they leave you alone, because the worst thing you can do is pull out your wallet, open it up. And that's probably what they're looking for. They're looking for the opportunity to grab your wallet and take off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like you said earlier, we're dressed, we're not dressed in a suit or anything. We're wearing work clothing. So we don't, oftentimes don't look much better than the people that are asking us for coffee money.
Yeah, you're leaving the Ferrari and the Rolex at home. Yeah, that's a smart idea. But no, these businesses get paid really well, and you provide a service, and a no-brainer. I mean, like I said, I kind of have this vision that somebody in LA or something should come up with a way to make this, help people get off the street, help them get money. People want to make money. They want to have some dignity, and where you can get paid so well for this. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's really amazing to me how many people don't understand that blue collar businesses are some of the most highest paid things. In fact, right now we've got so many people that are retiring that are high tradesmen, high knowledgeable, high experience. They're retiring, and most of the new people replacing them are beginners or novices. And people don't realize that they're just getting paid more. You look at what UPS workers are getting paid now. I mean, they just had the union with the thing. Have you reached a point with your model or your business where you've got employees working for you and you've expanded, or are you still doing it yourself?
That's how we built it into a 6-figure business. I mean, I started as a side hustle part-time. I grew it into a simple one-man operation, which I enjoyed doing for about 4 years. But then, my customers wanted more of me at more of their properties. So then I just brought in some subcontractors to help me with the cleaning. So, so now, we built the business up to anywhere from $650,000 to $700,000 a year. In revenues, just doing, cleaning up litter from parking lots. We don't offer any other services. We're not a landscaper. We don't do snow removal. We're not a janitorial company. Like I often tell people, it's with us, it's better to be seen as the expert in your field of operations than try to be a jack of all trades and wind up a master of none.
There you go. And the other beautiful part about this is there's no inventory. That's one of the biggest problems you have with most companies. If you're selling something, that you're just selling sweat equity at this point. You can generate that. It doesn't require, like my first company, I'd worked for years as a kid with my dad doing stucco. So I knew how to do the trowels. I knew how to mix the cement. I knew every aspect of the business. I didn't want to know because I was a kid. But, I live in the age where your mom's like, take those kids and do something with this summer because I don't want to deal with them. It was the latchkey kid era where you didn't come home until like streetlights came on, and so I learned that trade. And so, story in my book of when I worked at McDonald's in my teens, I got fired. My dad said, "What are you going to do now? Because you can't sit around the house and work for free." This is a different age and live for free. And I said, I don't know. He says, why don't you go do my old stucco business? I shut it down a few years ago, but all the tools are out in the shed, and I think there's still an account of the builders thing, and you can just, you know how to do everything. The only thing you got to do is go get new customers because you don't have any. And so I was like, okay, great. And that's how I started my first business. But I did know the trade, and I did know the work, and I did know how to do this stuff. In your business, this isn't a high skill thing that you have to do. You don't have to go to college for 4 years to figure out how to pick up litter.
That's for sure. And the reason or how I got started as a kid growing up, I often would go with my dad, who was a janitor. and he didn't make a lot of money. So he supplemented the income by, cutting grass in the summer, shoveling snow in the winter. And he would clean up litter from a nearby shopping plaza. And when I got a bit older and I was probably 12, 13, 14, he took me along with him a couple times. And I thought, wow, this is easy. We would just walk the property, clean up the litter with our tools. So, no bending, stooping, sweeping, or handling the stuff. And we were in and out of there in just a matter of minutes. And I thought that's pretty cool. And then when I was 21 and working a dead end job at a sporting goods store, that memory popped into my head, and I thought, why can't I do that? Unfortunately, at the time, this is back in 1981, my dad had passed away unexpectedly at the age of 61. So just as I was starting up with this idea, he wasn't around anymore to give me any help or tips, but I still had that memory. And I thought, if he could do it, he was a Polish immigrant, his language skills weren't that great. I mean, I can do this too. The one example he showed me and my brothers was, how hard work would pay off. And so,
definitely,
yeah, here we go. 40 plus years later, I took his idea and I turned it into something that, I think a lot of people would be interested in doing just as much as I've enjoyed it for the past 40 years.
There you go. And plus you're out in the weather, so you're sucking down some clean air. You're not in some polluted, poor filtrated office building. You're not dealing with office lights. I mean, you're not dealing with other people in the office. You don't have to smell the guy who brings in the fish and puts it in the microwave. Yeah. So there you go.
Or the woman who wears too much perfume.
Oh yeah. Or guys, I've seen both. Yeah. We used to run a big facility for Cincinnati Bell of telemarketers, like 800 telemarketers a day, and that one you had to ban like perfumes, where like you can't be wearing, like, if you're piling that stuff on, we got to send you home because you're just gonna kill everybody in the office. So we had to, and I think at one point with one of our companies we had to ban perfumes in general. We had somebody who was hyper sensitive to it, but so you can walk around, you don't have your boss hovering over you, micromanaging you. I mean, this sounds like a great business. Maybe I might quit my job and go do it tomorrow. If I'm out collecting trash, people, not doing the podcast anymore, you know what happened.
You know what, There's some bonuses. It doesn't happen every day, but sometimes the pizza place is just closing up shop, and what do they do with leftover pizzas? So they offer it to their delivery drivers, or if they don't want it, if you happen to be there, hey, Brian, you want to, because I get to know some of these guys because they're open late hours. Brian, you want a pizza to take home? So why not? And then it's amazing how careless some people are with their money. We find money in parking lots, and I think it's because people they stuff their pockets with the bills, 10, 20s, 50s, whatever, and then they put their car keys. Yeah. And then when they pull the keys out come the bills, and it's in the parking lot. And sometimes I'm wondering, I'm walking and I'm looking straight ahead. What is that? And then I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. Nobody else has noticed this. I'm the first one to arrive at the scene, and I'm starting to, pick up the bills. Like I say, it doesn't happen every day, but the most I've ever found, and this goes back 20 years, the most I've ever found was a roll of bills, and it was pretty muddy. We were wrapped in an elastic band. I took it home, dried it out, and then I started peeling the bills off. It was over $600.
Holy crap.
$600. So
I'm quitting my job.
That was my best payday for doing nothing other than showing up.
Free pizza and that, I'm out. I'm going to go do that. Screw this. The just the free pizza alone has my stomach rumbling right now. So there you go. Give us your final thoughts as we go out. Tell people how they can.
You can't be too picky.
That's true. I mean, free pizza is free pizza.
Yeah. You can't be picky if it's Domino's or Papa John's or whatever. It's free pizza.
Free pizza. As long as it's got pepperoni on it.
But if people want to learn more, I suggest that just go to my website, Cleanlots.com, and there's a free report if you want to download it. More information. Is this the right opportunity for you? And there's also a 3-minute video that shows me walking a property, cleaning it, and so you get the idea of what work is involved and what tools I'm using. And so that's the best place to start. I tell people, it's just Cleanlots.com.
There you go. Cleanlots.com. I love it. This sounds like I wish some city would pick this up as a way to fix the homeless situation or something, or people that need money, because it sounds like, you can have an army doing this, and then you can get people off the streets too. So there you go. Thank you very much, Brian, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Had a great time, Chris.
Thank you. And thanks for joining us as well. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Subscribe to the big LinkedIn newsletter, the LinkedIn group of 130,000 people over there. Go to Chris Voss 1 on TikTok and ChrisVossFacebook.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time.